I'm saying, if you're the Browns, would you trade the 6th pick for him?
No.
Would you trade that? You're hoping to draft a wide receiver. Isn't he better?
You have to pay him.
So?
You don't have a quarterback. Why would you trade 6 for?
You're going to sign him to an extension. I'm proposing this to you. Would you trade the 24th pick for him? You absolutely would.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's 24. 6.
You're not trading 6?
Nah.
I could be talked into it.
I mean, 24.
I'm definitely trading the 24th pick.
24 is
I mean, what's
minimum.
a contract for him off a trade is going to be a lot higher than what you're going to pay the 6th pick if you take a receiver at 6.
I hear you, but this guy's already good in the league.
Yeah. Yeah.
He's been a pretty good receiver with terrible quarterback play.
When is the last time a top 10 pick was traded
No,
for a
which is why ultimately you wouldn't trade the 6th.
I'm honestly asking, when's the last time a top 10 pick was traded you knew was top 10, not a future first?
Yeah, because you would only trade
non-quarterback.
You would only trade didn't the Jets trade it
Sauce Gardner?
No, the Sauce Gardner trade.
But those were future ones.
Those are future.
You didn't know
you didn't know where it was.
An actual top 10 pick.
Yeah. The Falcons, didn't the Falcons lose their first round pick this year? Again, they didn't know what it was at the time, but
that's what I'm saying. When have you ever seen
I mean,
it's also pick 13.
You would only do that probably for a Jamar Chase, a Justin Jefferson. Yeah. If you could get one of those guys, obviously you trade the 6th pick. But yeah, for Garrett Wilson, 24th pick, I'd do it. I'm in.
Yeah, I would do 24. I'm in.
100%.
6 not in.
All right, but let's go to more speculation and try to parse out something that Andrew Berry said.
Yeah, he had his pre-draft press conference yesterday.
Yeah.
A couple of things real quick. He was asked about the smoke around trading down. He was asked about trading up. He basically said everything's on the table. Everything's on the table.
What else would he say?
Nothing
is on the table.
Nothing
is on the table.
No offense, because you're about to ask a question about what he said. Nothing he said yesterday has any value whatsoever.
It'd just be funny to hear a GM come out and say nothing is on the table.
Yeah, we're not doing anything.
No.
We're kind of bored.
He was asked, though, about Jeremiyah Love, one of the top prospects in this draft, the top running back, maybe the top overall player on the board. And in relation to that, Andrew Berry said, quote, he's special if you think about some of the best dual-threat backs that the league has ever had. Obviously, Christian McCaffrey may be the poster child for that. Jahmyr Gibbs may be that kind of next generation of that. Jeremiah certainly has those abilities and capabilities. He's a very dynamic prospect.
Myles
Garrett?
Myles Garrett did not say that. Andrew Berry said that.
Okay. Good catch there, G-Bush.
With that being said, do you think Andrew Berry, who wouldn't go as far to call him generational, and was asked, is he Ohtani-like? Remember, he called Travis Hunter Ohtani, and he laughed and said, no one's Ohtani-like. There's no unicorns this year. But do you think Andrew Berry is giving praise and singing the praises of Jeremiyah Love because maybe the Browns really like him and target him at 6? Or is that a way my smoke trigger went off of?
No.
We're trying to hype this up to get a trade-down possibility to entice another team, if he's on the board at 6, to know they have to jump in front of us to get him.
Do you feel silly even asking that question? No. That's what I need to know.
Listen,
do you think Andrew, think about what you just said there, that Andrew Berry in a press conference a week before the draft saying that Jeremiyah Love is a great player, which we all know, is going to entice a team to trade up?
And it's going to trick another GM.
Yeah, right.
The questions I ask are not for me. It is for the general public.
Okay. Does anybody think anything about that statement has any meaning of any value or anything?
I mean, Jeremiyah Love is good. Like, he's good. He catches the ball. He can run the ball. He's dynamic. He's a hard worker. He has good character. Like, obviously, he's one of those guys. So I think Andrew Berry said, I usually just tell you guys what I'm thinking. You guys just don't believe me. But I don't.
That's not true.
I don't think that that's a earth-shattering revelation that Jeremiyah Love is good, and most people think he's good.
Yeah. But Jason, do you think he's trying to pull any strings with the statement?
Nah.
I mean, look at how much he gassed up Travis Hunter last year.
Right.
And then they traded out.
Yeah. Now, allegedly, they were going to draft him if that trade hadn't come up.
I mean,
we'll see.
That trade had been settled on 2 weeks prior, according to, that trade had been settled on in advance.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's true. Love does look like one of the best players in this draft, and if you're going to put a McCaffrey comp on him, I think you got to consider long and hard about taking him. I think Christian McCaffrey can probably help every team in the NFL.
Yeah.
Yeah. Look, I told you, listen, this is a very easy draft process for me. I've simply just come out and say, I don't know. We'll see what y'all gonna do. There's a plethora of guys you could take. I wouldn't be surprised if they took either three, 4 linemen, like Proctor or Lamu or Spencer Fano or Mainoa. That they could take them. They could come up there and say, well, Jordan Tyson, I don't care about the injury concerns. Our medical team looked at him. We think he's the most dynamic. We took him at 6. Carnell Tate, we always was going to take Carnell Tate because he was the most. They could come up there and say a bunch of things. They could trade down.
Yeah.
So I think nowadays with the draft is you just have to realize that there's a lot of things out there content-wise. I don't know who they're going to take. We don't know who they're going to take. I mean, if they took Jeremiyah Love, there's ways they can explain it away, and where you wouldn't be upset. Hey, look, we didn't have any of the receivers.
You don't have to explain it.
I can't. Predicting what Andrew Berry's going to do is hard to do. First of all, last year, he took a guy none of us had on their radar. Right? We never really discussed Mason Graham.
Oh, he was on the radar, and I told him he better not take it.
Right, but how much did we talk about Mason Graham?
That turned out,
nothing, because he was never a realistic candidate.
We never considered him a realistic
at number
candidate.
2, he was not in play.
That you saying they shouldn't take him is probably the only time we ever mentioned him. And then the 3 years before that, there was no first-round pick. So we have no idea what to expect from Andrew Berry. All I know is you can't believe anything a GM says. Not Andrew Berry, any GM this time of year would be stupid to share any real thoughts. It makes no sense unless you're picking first and then you have nothing to lose.
Right.
Or really, unless you're picking first and are staying at 1 and not considering trading. But otherwise, you have no incentive to tell the truth. You shouldn't. In fact, it'd be stupid to be honest about what you're thinking at 6. And so, it's easy for us. The only reason we're all speculating that they're going to take a wide receiver and an offensive lineman is because those are the obvious needs in this moment. But that is last year at 6. They had those same obvious needs.
Defensive tackle was not a need last year.
Defensive tackle was not a need. Even if it wasn't a top need, and yet they took defensive tackle. So this idea that they won't take a defensive player or they won't take a running back because maybe it's not an obvious need now, I just don't buy it. I've been more critical of Andrew Berry than anybody. And yet I believe the one thing I'll give him credit for now, it is really not worked because he has taken the wrong players in a lot of cases. But I think he is determined about best player available, which I think is a smart procedure. I just think they have no idea sometimes who their best player available is. But they did a good job with it last year.
We kill them all the time for the players that they missed on. But, I mean, Carson Schlesinger is an overwhelming home run. Like, they picked a linebacker nobody even knew about. Not only didn't know about, didn't really even play to his senior year, didn't even start.
Yeah.
And the dude came out and was the defensive rookie of the year. Like, I understand that people can say, well, he could find certain. No, that is a heck of a pick.
It was.
That because I'm even draft people are like, huh? This guy? And then you take a look at Judkins was a hit. Matter of fact, not only I consider Judkins such a hit because he had legal issues, didn't practice at all during the camp, and then came in against the Ravens in his first game. He like, oh, that guy's good.
Yeah, the first 4 picks all look good to varying degrees. Even Graham, who was good as a rookie, not great.
Good. He looked good.
Looks like at least his floor is decent.
Yeah.
We'll see how high. Ultimately, if he doesn't become a superstar, then it's not a great pick, but he's not a bust. It's clear he's not going to be a bust.
Correct.
Schlesinger looks like a superstar pick. Judkins is at least a good pick. And Fannin looks like a good to maybe superstar pick. And that's your top 4 picks in the draft. So, yeah, they did a good job. And I think what they did last year, to his credit, is they took the guy they thought was the best player in these spots. And position wasn't the most important thing. And I think a lot of times that's the successful way to go. And I think good teams do that. And just because wide receiver, I know people are going to be pissed if they don't take a wide receiver. If they take a defensive player at 4, a lot of people are going to be pissed. But if it's one of these Ohio State guys and that guy turns into a star, you can't be pissed.
If I think they're going to – here's the one thing we do know. Yeah. They'll take a receiver somewhere.
Yeah.
And here's what they're going to be judged on. If they take a receiver somewhere, is he good?
Yeah.
And they just – whatever receiver it is, he has to be good. So, he may get he may get crap for it, like if they don't take him with the first pick, but they're going to be watching the receiver. They're going to watch. And then the thing that really matters is this. How well could Todd Monken cover up for what you did in the draft? I mean by this. If they take a receiver somewhere in the 3rd round or a 4th round pick or whatever the case may be, and he comes out and he looks like a contributor and he's solid, no one will care where they took him at. They'll just say, hey, they took a receiver. He looks like he's good and he's going to play. We won't care.
Just get it right.
You just have to get it right.
Yeah.
And he has, and where he's at right now, Andrew Berry has to have 2 to 3 more like he had this year.
Yeah.
He has to have 2 to, or if one of the quarterbacks, if Shedeur Sanders is like the quarterback, then we won't even remember the receivers. We'll just say, well, look, he got the 5th round quarterback right, and that was a crazy pull to even get that. But as long as they're good, he has to have 2 to 3 more hits and to shore up the areas of weakness.
Jason?
Yeah.
Yeah,
no, I mean,
2 3.
I don't think that. I think we spent so much time on lineman and receiver.
Yeah.
I won't be shocked if it's not lineman receiver with the top 2 picks.
I don't know if consistently the people that coverage the draft say Caleb Downs and Sonny Styles and Jeremiyah Love are 3 of the 5 best players in this draft. I ultimately don't understand why you would kill the team for taking one of those guys.
I totally agree.
Yeah.
Yes, we know offense. We know this team needs offense.
Yes.
Help. And if there was a great, dynamic, sure thing that everybody loved,
right,
receiver or Joe Thomas type left tackle, you run to the podium and you take him.
But if that's
not the case,
then take the better player at the other position.
If Caleb Downs and Sonny Styles or one of them, they draft them, I don't think there's less people that will be upset than you would think.
Yes, all right, maybe you're right.
Because when the draft to come around, they'll turn around and rationalize and be like, you know what? That guy's good. I've seen him before.
Yeah,
if those two are Michigan players, though, and not Buckeyes.
Well, but I think that's part of it. But also, I think part of the disappointment last year was not only that they went defense, but they took a guy nobody was talking about.
Right. Yeah.
It wasn't like he was a sexy name. Whereas these guys, not just, even if they took, what's the
Bailey or Ruben.
Bailey, right? Like if you took one of those guys, I just don't think you can get that upset.